again, it's not about how many followers you have, it's the quality of followers that you have. Having more followers does not do anything for your business. But most of the time, it's about tuning in to who's following you, what are they watching, how engaged are they. What's up, guys? My name is Dr. Daniel Rubenstein. I'm a cosmetic dentist, and you're watching Behind the Brand with Brian Elliott.
Hey everyone, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Brand. Dr. Daniel, thank you for having me to your incredible Brooklyn office. It's beautiful here.
I appreciate you. This is something that we've been working on for generations, actually.
Yeah?
Yes.
So I usually ask my guests, how did you get this job?
So I was kind of born into this. It was something that I applied many years ago. My family are dentists, my parents are dentists, and it's a generational thing.
So I met your dad on the way in.
Yes.
Seems like a really nice guy. To me, this is kind of rare. I mean, yes, some people go into the family business, but not always, right? So talk to me about your path. Did your parents encourage you to, go to dental school, or did they want you to take a completely different path? Maybe go into law or become a plumber or own a flower shop or something?
That's a great question. So I was not forced to go into dentistry. Actually, my parents were completely open-minded to letting me decide what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
My parents are hardworking people who really inspired so many others by transforming their lives, by transforming their smiles. And I saw that growing up. I saw their passion, their motivation for this field, and naturally that rubbed off on me. Mm-hmm. So, seeing dentistry throughout the years, I was like, I think there's a place for me that I could turn it into my way and my own approach.
You have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have two younger brothers.
Yeah. And?
My parents were able to inspire 2 out of 3, which is not a bad ratio. Yeah. My middle brother, he's a specialist, just joined our team. And my youngest brother, he works with us, but not as a dentist. He could take a look at it, but he's not a dentist.
Okay, what does he do?
He's more in the tech world. He's the one that got me involved in the technology, the social media, the branding. So I kind of piggybacked off of my youngest brother.
Okay. Yeah, I want to get into that because sort of the working title of this piece, I was thinking, I found you on TikTok of all places, which is, to me, it's like conventional wisdom in unconventional places. Places you don't expect to find legit information or education or inspiration. And yet here you are on TikTok and other social media, Instagram, doing your thing, strutting your stuff. And actually the production value is really good. So maybe that's a good segue into talking about, a lot of people watch this show. They're small business owners, they're entrepreneurs, maybe they're thinking about doing their own thing. And one of the most difficult things is awareness. We have an awareness problem. People don't even know this place exists. How do you get it on the map? So talk about your process, how you built your audience, started to build attention. Talk about how you did that.
That's a great question. So for a lot of these small businesses or even big businesses, let's say you have a craft, whether you're a dentist, an artist, entrepreneur.
Deep domain knowledge in something.
In something. Yeah. So as a dental student, I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans, and especially undergrad and then graduate school. Yeah. So you're in debt with a lot of money.
Give us an idea how much that is. We're talking about 50,000, 100,000?
Around $500,000 and north of that if you're a specialist. So it's incredible. So a lot of people think that you're going to graduate with a piece of paper that says doctor on it, and then there's going to be a line waiting for your services. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Yeah. Awareness is probably the most important thing when it comes to starting your own business. Yeah. So as a young doctor, I did not have a line around the block waiting for me. So, I had to question myself. I had to question, how am I going to bring that awareness to the public? Yeah. I didn't have the funds like these big corporate companies to create $1 million ads. I'm already in debt.
Yeah, there's no billboards of you out there.
There's no billboards that I know of. That could be, but there is none.
Yeah. And back in the day, years ago, it used to be, Google search is still very viable, of course.
SEO, sure.
And a lot of people used to play the Yelp racket. I call it a racket because it seems like it's such a pay to play, and it seems like it's rigged. Mm-hmm. There's been lots of articles written on the mafia-like.
I could get into that, by the way, and I don't want to give him too much promotion on that part.
Well, there's no promotion here.
Yeah.
To me, it's it's a stronghold on small businesses. I'm not a fan of that. But so that used to be the old way of doing things.
And even, sorry to interrupt, and even the mail-in marketing. I remember when I started early, years prior to me becoming a doctor and helping my parents' business, we used to send out just mail with promotions. Mailers with promotions.
Toss away trash.
Basically. Yeah, so that's how we got started.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff can work, right? Like even, TV, outdoor. I'm not disparaging different forms of advertising, but I guess what we're kind of getting to here is efficiency, reaching your target where they're at. Because, TV is great, it's overpriced.
It's very expensive.
It's not affordable for everyone, right? Especially if you're trying to get out of debt. So social media is a great option. Maybe your brother helped you, figure that stuff out.
Yes, so I had extra time because, I'm a newly graduate doctor. I don't have patients around the block waiting for me. So one thing I did have was time. So my youngest brother, who I look up to as well, we were brainstorming, bouncing ideas. He's like, why don't you go into live streaming and just talk to the camera and answers people's questions. It doesn't matter if they're in New York City, in Wisconsin, just answer people's questions. Yeah. Get in the habit of helping others. Yeah. So that's exactly what I did. There was this app called Meerkat.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I remember. I was on Periscope and Meerkat early on. This was before Twitter acquired, right? Mm-hmm. One of them, I think it was Meerkat.
I think it was Meerkat too, yeah.
Maybe it was Periscope, who knows?
Because Meerkat, Twitter was responding, so there was some type of relationship.
Anyway, yeah, I definitely remember that.
So, started live streaming, a half an hour a night, then an hour a night, and the more audience that was building, I started, spending more time on that platform.
How many people would come on your lives?
Everything starts with small quantities. And the way that I started was one-on-one with one person tuning in, then 5 people, then 10 people. But the same effort that I put in with that one person, I put in with the 10 people and 30 people. I never took it for granted. And I think when it grows naturally, you kind of develop your niche a lot better than if it happens overnight. I kind of learned from my mistakes and my conversations because it was a gradual growth.
Yeah, I love that idea. And I've talked to a lot of the big social media guys. I was with Gary Vee yesterday.
Excellent.
And Gary, built his empire on social media. And we talked a little bit about this idea of minimum viable audience, which is sometimes we get stuck in the trap of thinking, why don't I have 1 million subscribers? Why don't I have, 10 million views on this video? And that's not what it's about. It is about focusing on the one or the few or the minimum viable, whatever number that is,
exactly.
And then doubling down on that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So would it be better to have 100 people that are your clients, conversion rate out of 100 people, let's say 90 people convert, versus 1 million people that watch your stuff and only one person might be interested in converting to whatever you're trying to preach?
Yeah. I talk about this all the time, and I think the answer to that depends, right? Because if we're talking about a Netflix show, for example, it's a very much a lean back experience. And we turn it on, and maybe we're multitasking while we're watching a show, right? And so that viewing experience is much different than, say, a live, where you're leaning in and you're trying to gain, education or information or get inspired. And so, if you're Netflix, the wide, big numbers matter. That metric matters because then you can see, are people even tuning in? But I think if you're a small business owner, you're an entrepreneur, that I would rather have 100 people that would fall on the sword for me than 1 million people that don't give a shit.
They don't really care.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what a lot of these small businesses don't understand. They would rather appear bigger than what they are, maybe get some fake views, fake likes, fake followers. But it's about the reality of the growth. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And I think that's what helped me get to where I'm at today. It's because I didn't jump into wanting 1 million people right off the bat. I wanted to learn from my mistakes earlier on so that when we do get to the millions of followers, I know what to do with them.
Yeah. Well, also too, and back to this minimum viable audience, the Silicon Valley talks about MVP, minimum viable product. But how many clients do you really need here at your Brooklyn office? I mean, what's your capacity?
Yeah, I mean...
You can't handle millions. Out the door would be bad for business.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a cookie shop in the city,
exactly.
which has got a line out the block. I mean, that kind of social proof is like, oh wow, that place must be good. But I didn't go there because the line was like, snaking around the corner. I was like, I could do without that cookie,
That's exactly right.
right? So, how many clients do you actually need to be viable? That's the number you should be focusing on. And if for some people that's 5 clients who pay them $10,000 a month. That's $50,000 a month. That's a good living.
That's right.
For a dentist, I don't know. Maybe you have 1,000 clients. I don't know what the capacity is, but I think you're heading in the right direction.
So for me, it's about the experience, right? Yeah. So if my team and I can give the best experience for my clients, and it's whatever time that takes. So like you said, I cannot give the best experience by having 100 different patients at the same time. It doesn't work for my type of business model because it's about really connecting to another human being. And that's why I love social media, because I started connecting to people that I wouldn't have otherwise met via this live streaming.
Yeah.
Then getting into other platforms.
So I'm curious, did your parents give you any pushback on Daniel, hey, great dentists.
Yeah.
So what do you call yourself? Is it, are you a cosmetic dentist, or what's the title I should be saying?
I mean, people refer to me as a cosmetic dentist because that's my forte. That's what I focus on.
So I'm going to channel your father here.
Okay, good.
Daniel, great cosmetic dentists don't dance on social media.
That's right. That's right. So we can get into that?
Yeah.
All right. So for those that are in businesses with their family members, this is a story for you. I really believed in the craft of building an audience, natural audience through social media. So naturally, social media is on your phone. I would always be on my phone. I would always be on my phone. And technically, from the outside perspective, it could look like I'm distracted. Yeah. I'm always on my phone. Who knows what I'm doing? And my father being a partner in this business, like, get off your phone, get off your phone.
Different generation too, right?
Yeah. Get off your phone, and I'll be like, no, but I'm actually working. You might not see the results right away, but you have to believe in what you're doing. So we would always butt heads. Literally, we would have an argument once a day. Get off your phone, because you wouldn't see the results right away. Yeah. So that's why he was like, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
It's a distraction. So little by little, I started proving him wrong. Patients were like, oh, I saw Dr. Daniel on Snapchat, or I saw Dr. Daniel on TikTok. And he's like, wait a minute, so people are coming in from what you're doing? Okay, maybe do a little bit more. Yeah. But get off your phone. Don't spend an hour on it, spend it like 20 minutes. And little by little, we started building that trust within ourselves. Mm-hmm. Now there's a second group of people that could judge you or kind of tell you not to do what you're doing. The fellow colleagues, the ones that maybe see you dancing on social media or doing something not related to dentistry. Yeah. And they're like, oh, look at this guy. He's wasting his time.
Well, this coat is sacred, right? I mean, you put this coat on and then you transform. You've got to be formal and proper. And
you have to know how to dance. I'm just kidding. You do not know how to dance. So for me, it was about showcasing my personality. To me, that was the most important thing. Yeah. For me, to build a relationship with someone, it's for them to see who we really are and how much we really care. Yeah. Whether that's, sharing some information about my personal life, showcasing a fun experience in the office. That to me, is the decision maker of a lot of these clients.
Yeah, and I think that's a super good tip. Bringing the humanity back into work. I'm not a fan of this phrase, it's not personal, it's just business. I think we should flip that phrase. It's not business, it's just personal. Because everything's personal.
Everything's personal.
From the choice we make of where we work and who we work with to who we go fix our teeth. Exactly. I mean, it's all personal. And if you can bring the humanity back, if you can insert your personality, I think there's huge advantages. And you're living testimony of that. What mistakes did you make?
I think some of the bigger mistakes, and I'm pretty sure Gary Vee talks about this all the time. It's about produce content, stop overthinking, stop being clouded by what other people might tell you is right or wrong. Yeah. Just do it, create it with all your heart. I think in the beginning I would overthink a lot, versus now I'm like, just release your authenticity, release yourself. That's probably the biggest thing.
What does overthinking look like? Like worry about how your hair looks, or
not even that. Like, should I even post this?
Yeah, because you got like a double Windsor going there. It's a very good look. English, I love it. Spread collar.
You have a good eye on this stuff.
Well, I worked through college at Ralph Lauren.
Oh, very
So I
nice.
recognize like the English spread collar, double Windsor. It's
Yeah.
top shelf.
To me, cosmetics is not just a form of dentistry, it's a way of life. So if I'm preaching something to my patients and I'm telling them what I think will look better, it has to be because I believe in that, not because I'm trying to convince somebody to do something.
Yeah, and it reminds me of something Seth Godin taught me too, which is this idea that people like us do things like this. This idea that, you know, sort of your clients are somewhat aspirational to you. Like, you know, you're sort of leading the way, showing them what the true potential could be, right? When you see someone, I'm sure you're zeroed in right here on their smile and the way it fits maybe with their face and other features. But they're also looking to you to see almost like if I can trust you with my my smile.
That's right.
So if you look haggard or if you look like you're not taking care of yourself, that's sort of not aligned. And I think that, you know, that consistency is super important.
So to piggyback off of what you're saying, before I even get to a person's mouth, I get into their heart and mind. I get to know them. I want to know their story, because if I'm improving something that's they're insecure about, I want to know why they're insecure about. Exactly what happened, what moment, what people are saying what about them, so that I could really get into their mindset. It's almost like a psychology more than anything else.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've probably got to be very perceptive.
Yes.
And then you sort of also got to play therapist. I want to go back really fast and talk about some of the things that you deliberately share, because I think there's this term called strategic transparency. At least I deploy that a lot. Like there's some things I don't want you to see. And maybe it's more than not like I don't want you to see. It's like some things to me I keep very private. So I have a son, he's 13. He's, you know, my pride and joy, my boy. But he's not front and center on all my social media. And it's because I want to maintain a certain amount of privacy and safety and security for him.
Sure.
That's the reason, you know, he's, as much as he would love to be, and maybe will someday be, you know, at my side, at my hip, because he's way funnier than me, way more talented, better.
I can't even imagine, guys.
He's everything plus, you know, times 10. But anyway, but for those reasons, I don't have him on yet because I think he's too young. But like, so what are some of the things that you are showing people? Because I've seen, I think you with a couple of German Shepherds, right?
No, so we have a German Shepherd and a smaller dog, toy poodle.
So one Shepherd and a toy poodle.
Yes.
Yeah, I love dogs too.
I mean, they're my pride and joy right now. I mean, I love humans, but I think humans might take second place after your dogs.
We don't deserve dogs.
Dogs don't deserve, I mean, yes, we don't deserve dogs.
Yeah. Okay, so talk about some of the things that you're deliberately showing and why. And is there some thought behind it? Because I think, and I've shown my dogs in videos before, I want people to see that side of me, because if you don't love dogs or if you don't love animals, we probably can't be friends.
That's right.
I mean, it's the truth.
That's right.
And so I do that on purpose to show other people that I'm an animal person, I'm a dog person in particular. I mean, I have cats and I have horses. I love all the animals. But what are some of the things that you're deliberately showing people and why?
You know, I think no matter what business you're in, it's about a relationship, right? And a relationship comes with some sort of transparency. If a person doesn't know you, they're not going to trust you.
Yeah.
Period. So for me, I showcase my family because I'm in business with them. I work with them.
Yeah.
I showcase the loves of my life, which are my dogs. I showcase my work ethic. I showcase sports that I love, exercising that I love. The one thing that I don't really show is my personal love life, because to me, I mean, yeah, you can show everything in the world, but you have to keep something for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to keep something for yourself. And that's something so precious. I'm not married yet. So for me, I want to make sure that I find the right person and without any clutter and noise or distractions on that part.
Right, so like it doesn't become a show. Because sometimes you're like, hey, I'm at the club, or we're on vacation in Tulum, or, and it's like, it's a little bit, you can kind of see through that, like, okay, you know.
Are you doing it for the promotion? Are you doing it for the publicity? Or are you doing it because you really love that person?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where, for me too, I'm the same way, it can become kind of convoluted.
But then again, there are people that showcase their loved one, their partner earlier on, and that's perfect if they're comfortable doing that.
Yeah, and there's no judgment about that, right? And that's why I talk about strategic transparency, because, my roots are in brand, and I want to talk about the Dr. Daniel brand. But
Yeah.
so if you're a travel blogger,
Yeah.
you want to be showing all those pictures in the bikini and you diving into the perfectly aqua blue water of the Mediterranean or wherever you're at,
Sure.
because that is your brand.
That is your brand.
If you're a relationship person or whatever. So this show is called Behind the Brand. Let's talk about what you think a brand is, and then break down what the Dr. Daniel brand is about.
So to me, a brand is consistent not only with the owner of the company, but it trickles down to like every aspect of the business. Every single person that is involved with that business is your brand. A lot of people think that there's one person that could be the face of it and hire whoever you want. I'm very specific, very strategic in who I hire. To me, it's the most important thing because these are the people that are the extension of you. Whether they're in the office or whether they leave the office and how they act and how they behave and what they showcase, because that really is what makes a brand bigger than life.
Yeah. So how have you had to educate your team on, aligning with your brand? Because I know that's probably a challenge too for people. When I watch your videos, it just seems like everyone is in sync. Everyone's got the moves and they're strutting down the hallway and then, it's very choreographed. But was there some training you had to do there or did you do that in one take? Or
Okay, so everything we do mostly is around one take.
Okay.
One take. But
Amazing.
Because the people that I hire, that we hire as this organization grows, we hire based on personality. We hire based on emotions and their EQ, not necessarily their IQ. That's something that Gary Vee talks about, their emotional intelligence. Because I want to know that as much as I love my patients and the people that come to see treatment from us, my team members will love them just as much, if not more.
Yeah, that's so key and so smart that you've thought about that. So what is the Dr. Daniel brand?
It's about authenticity. It's about love. It's about doing what you would do for your family if you really love them. It's about absolute high quality, not taking no for an answer, and giving it your all. Giving it your like last night, I was in this office finishing a makeover. We were done around 11:30 at night. We started at 9 in the morning. We finished 11:30 at night.
Wow.
That's because all these little details that make something special, I wanted to make sure it's perfect.
Yeah, I've heard it said that your brand is what other people talk about when you're not in the room.
Oh yeah.
And so Marty Neumeier taught me this. He's one of the godfathers of brand, I think. And he was saying that, brand is not your logo. A brand is your promise, but it really is where the rubber hits the road. You may talk a talk,
yes,
but what people are actually feeling and experiencing outside. And, granted, everyone's got a different perception, right? So we may have an interaction, and there's a couple, I think, a generation ahead of me upstairs that I met.
Sure.
They're going to have a totally different experience than I have based on their worldview, their life experience. But hopefully at the end of the day, there's this Venn diagram where what you're trying to do, what people are actually feeling overlaps.
Correct.
And I think that's when you're doing it right.
You hit the nail on the head. It's really about, yes, what makes a brand is what people say when you're not in the room or when they're somewhere else, but that's because of your actions. It's because of not just living up to their expectations, but going above and beyond. And listen, I don't care if you're in dentistry or you're a tailor or in hospitality, go above and beyond every single chance that you get.
So how do you know what to share? So, maybe you have domain knowledge, maybe you're an attorney or you know everything about accounting or photography or whatnot. How do you know, a content calendar is important.
Right.
And a schedule. Let's talk about that. So how do you know what to create? Where do you start?
All right, so in terms of when it was really starting off, I didn't really have a content calendar. I didn't have a very strategic approach to doing anything. It was as authentic as it gets. For instance, if something was trending, if there's something in the news trending or a trending song or whatever the case is, I would jump on it right away. I wouldn't wait until to see what other people would say about it or what other people would do with that particular song or video. I would jump and do it myself first. I'll give you an example. There was many years ago, actually 2-3 years ago, there was a song that was made by the very famous Drake called Kiki.
Yeah, of course.
Remember that song?
Of course, yeah.
And there was a dance associated with that song. And you know, a few people started doing that dance, including one of my buddies and patients, Shiggy. And I was like, what if I kind of like make it into a joke, but you know, try to perform that dance? I'm not a dancer. I was thinking maybe I'll get some backlash, but I think people would see that I love hip hop. I grew up listening to hip hop.
Yeah, you have a huge Tupac like homage in the front lobby. It's amazing.
Yeah, this is not a facade. Like I grew up in the streets of Brooklyn playing basketball, listening to hip hop music while playing basketball. So it's really in my DNA. So you know, we did that video. It was on the phone. It wasn't perfect. I did whatever moves I thought was associated with that Kiki song, and it went viral. Like it was on every single TV station, radio station. People were talking about it. They're like, even the cosmetic dentist, Dr. Daniel, does the Kiki dance, right? Yeah. So if I would overthink it, the way that I used to overthink it early on in my career, I would have never shared that video. I would be too insecure about it. Take that chance.
Yeah, you went for it. So how do you approach content now? Do you have a calendar, a schedule?
Now it's a little bit more organized.
Do you have someone doing it for you, or are you still the brains?
I still do most of it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I bring on different talents, videographer, photographer, who puts my vision into life, but then I kind of package it the way that I see fitted.
Okay. And so break that down. What does that look like?
But then again, I enjoy it. There's a lot of business owners and people that have a profession that really do not like doing this.
Right. Yeah. It's unnatural, or it's not authentic to who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if it's not authentic to you, find someone that is really good at it, that loves to do these type of things, and become a partner in that.
Like, so we don't see your dad doing this stuff, and that's probably because he's not comfortable.
He's super uncomfortable, but because he loves me, he'll jump into a video or two, but he turns purple when he does it. Like probably the same color as your shirt, like blue purple.
Yeah. So give some more advice, maybe tactical stuff about, you know, the frequency. Should you be doing something every day? Are you posting like breakfast, lunch, dinner? Get specific with this.
Okay, so there's different platforms. I would recommend for those business owners, small businesses, to go on every single platform, or choose the biggest four that you'll be more consistent on. That's the first thing. There's no one platform that's gonna make you or make your brand jump off.
Are you repurposing content? So like video you shoot vertically, you know, like for Instagram. Now YouTube has YouTube Shorts, so that works for like a YouTube Short. But like, are you shooting horizontal? We're getting really nitty gritty here, but like.
Please do, yeah. So I'm starting not to do that. I want to give people different angles, like all these cameras here, different angles of my team and myself. Okay. So on YouTube, we have exclusive content that's just for YouTube. For Instagram is mainly for Instagram, but sometimes I will repurpose it depending on how good it performed, because then I want people to see that who have not seen it on YouTube and kind of mix and match a little bit.
So for Instagram,
I'm not per se repurposing every single video into all my different platforms, because I don't want people to get fatigued watching the same stuff.
Yeah, like an echo chamber.
A what?
Like an echo chamber. It's just like the same thing, only in different places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to show different sides of you. It could be the same story, but different angles of that story. And you apply it in different platforms, because every platform works differently.
Yeah.
And the more you study that platform, the more you understand it, the more you can relate to it better.
And so how are you measuring success? How are you measuring results? Let's go back to kind of, you know, through the vision of your dad, you know, Daniel, this is not working. Like, so how are you measuring success? And maybe, you know, talk to the people about how they should be deciding whether or not they should keep going, or how they should measure the success.
That's a great question. To me, success is engagement. Not necessarily comments. It could be the DMs, it could be the emails, it could be the phone calls. Okay. I want to see that people are engaging in what I'm producing.
Yeah. So you put it on social, and you want to hear the phone ring, or you want to get a message.
Email, message. It doesn't even have to be, I want to make an appointment to do a smile makeover. It's more like, you've inspired me or helped me, or I have a question about this. Then I know we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
It's not like talking to the wall.
Yeah, it becomes real, right? It's virtual, and then you bring people in. So you're hoping that people will inquire, or ask, or
just engage.
Connect with you.
Or connect. To me, the like button doesn't do much. It doesn't turn me on. Having 100,000 likes does not do anything for anybody, except for those that are addicted to that heart button. Press, 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 press. I like to have a conversation. I like to engage. That's how I started my career with live streaming and just engaging with people. So the more feedback I get back, the better it is. And I know that I'm on a right track.
Yeah. You don't have to tell us exact numbers, but give us an idea of the conversion rate. So you put out, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos a week. Mm-hmm. How does that translate into new business for you? Are you getting a new client each week, 1 a month, 6 a year? How does that work?
That's another great question. So we just hired 2 young ladies who are solely just to respond to these new patient leads. Okay. We probably backed up like between 5,000 and 10,000 new patient leads within the last couple of months that we couldn't even get to.
Wow. So these are like dedicated social media manager or community managers who
not even like social media managers. I created like a hub of where all the different leads go to.
Like a CRM platform, like a Salesforce or whatever, where your customer service management.
Exactly.
Okay. Your website.
Exactly. So we have a link where I started to create, it's called using Typeform. For me, it works because I can have like a questionnaire because I want to really understand people, not just like, are you interested in dentistry? Give me your phone number.
I want a Google Doc. You have questions.
Exactly. Yeah. These leads answer those questions. They leave their information, and then we have our girls reach out back to them and go from there.
Yeah, so they come in, if it's a sales funnel, they come in the top of the funnel, they express interest, they get a little further down the funnel, and you sort of really qualify them.
Exactly.
And there's maybe at the end of the funnel, there's a consultation fee, or there's something that works. Right. How is that converting? So if you get out of 1,000, or let's do easy math, out of 100, because I'm not great at math. So out of 100, that come into that funnel, about how many are you seeing convert and become clients-ish?
I would say out of 100, maybe 10%, a little bit less than that, because
that's a big number.
Well, we're really we're really trying to condense, because it's not just about doing the dentistry. It's making sure that you see eye to eye with me. Make sure that the services that I can provide, the style of dentistry that I do, fits you.
Yeah, what I want is what you can provide. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Because there's some people that think that Rome can be built in a day. Like, you could do your whole mouth in one day because they see, people go overseas to Colombia and other places that do it in a not so ethical way, and they're like, oh, I want to do the same thing here. So as long as the client or the patient sees eye to eye, then we keep moving them down that funnel to make sure that they could get a consultation.
Yeah. And are you seeing people who maybe don't come through the first time? Are you seeing them come back later? Is that a thing?
Yes. So there's so many patients that come in saying that they've watched our videos, watched our stories, have been following us for years. Yeah. And it took them the education, the knowledge, the courage to be like, you know what, this is where I'm going. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. And I love that, because the more educated your consumer is, the better the relationship is going to be and the better results you're going to get.
I was feeling that, and I want to tell that story too, because when I first started my channel, almost no one was paying attention. In fact, when I started a decade ago on YouTube doing long form interviews, I mean, this was almost like right around the time TED Talks started, but TED Talks were still like 19 minutes. My interviews were like 30 minutes, an hour. But my rationale was like, would you rather sit at the feet of Malcolm Gladwell or Gary Vee or Seth Godin or Mark Cuban and listen for an hour? Or do you want 3 minutes? It's like, oh, this is a no-brainer. I would rather have more time than less. Right. But the views were very low. I felt like no one was paying attention. But it was okay because, again, I was focused on an MVA model. And also, I learned early on, because some of these VIP people that I dreamed about having on, I had no idea were watching. And their people would contact me and say, oh, we saw you, on YouTube, and so-and-so's got a new book out. We'd love for her to be on your show. Or, she's a big fan, when can we do something together? And so this idea of you never know who's watching. Exactly. Is super key. I think for, at least if you're like me, a small business owner, freelancer, independent, and you're wondering whether or not, anyone's watching, you just never know.
Again, it's not about how many followers you have, it's the quality of followers that you have. Yeah. Because having more followers does not do anything for your business unless you know how to convert it like at a high ratio. Yeah. But most of the time, it's about tuning in to who's following you, what are they watching, how engaged are they, no matter what platform are you on.
I think it's about patience too, right? Like just putting your head down, doing the work, not worrying about, how many likes, how many subscribers, but just doing the work, being patient. Because if you're doing great work, word will get out.
For sure.
To the right people. Not a gazillion people, but to the right people. And I think that's where the magic happens.
Also, there's no reason to be stuck on one particular platform or one way of doing any type of marketing. Like when I came to my parents' business, they were doing these mail order coupons or whatever the case was.
Flyers.
Yeah, flyers. And for many years prior to that, I guess it was working. I was like, let me start tweaking it. I put them on Google. I started doing YouTube videos like 15, 20 years ago. And they started to see a difference in that. So it's not about being romantic and just doing it because that's the way it's been done for many years. It's about evolving and seeing where the intention is and focusing on that rather than, oh, it worked and it brought in 5 patients a month, so we know that's consistent. Take that risk, turn it to a different situation where it could bring 50 patients or 50 clients.
I love it. Final words. Let's roll back the clock to 18-year-old Dr. Daniel. Let's look right in this camera.
Sure.
And you can talk to 18-year-old you and give you some advice when you're 18. Everything you know now, back then, heading into, this life journey, this career, what would you say?
Whatever you put your mind to, you will accomplish it. Be dedicated. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about your insecurities. Whatever you think you'll be made fun of or whatever might throw you off because of what other people say does not make a difference today. I promise you, Daniel. Believe in yourself as much as you do. Sometimes you'll hit those bumps in the road and it could question if you're moving in the right direction, but keep it going because there's so much that life has to offer and you just have put in a little bit more effort and you got it.
I mean, we were just sitting back, chopping it up, reminiscing about the good old days and all that. Tracking my roots, where I came from and where I'm going.